So Brandon said a man has a right to divorce his wife if he finds something he didn't know about her, aka she got 20 bodies, aka.
And we're not talking about murders. You're not talking about murder.
And 20 bodies is low these days. That's back in the 80s, back in the 90s. I thought back in the day, I thought 10 bodies was a lot. Right. But so you ain't gonna get this from nowhere on YouTube or any social media sites because those people are fake. We are real over here.
Okay, so I agree with that.
I asked Brandon, what will make a man divorce his wife? But guys, hold on, let me click on it. Hold on. But guys, let's talk about the Bible first. Brandon, read that.
A man might marry a woman and then find some secret thing about her that he doesn't like. If that man is not pleased with her, he must write the divorce papers and give them to her. Then he must send her from his house. That's in the Bible?
Deuteronomy 24th chapter, first verse. So here's a quote before we get into it. Now, I'm just going to let a side note. The Bible do contradicts itself what Jesus said after this in the New Testament, but this is the Old Testament.
Okay.
So this is they say God is everlasting, none changing. But why he changes in the Bible, Brandon? But don't say nothing. So Brandon said a man has a right to divorce his wife if he finds something he didn't know about her, aka she got 20 bodies, aka.
And we're not talking about murders. You're not talking about murder.
And 20 bodies is low these days. That's back in the 80s, back in the 90s. I thought back in the day, I thought 10 bodies was a lot. Right. But boy, we showing our age out here, ain't it, Brandon?
Right. Some people might have that in a month now.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
But Brandon, I just want Brandon. In 2003, ain't you thought 10 bodies was a lot?
It was. 6 is a lot.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa, how many people you done been with? 6. Oh, that's a hoe right there.
But now in 2023, 30 bodies is almost like a virgin.
Right.
It's almost like a virgin. And if you do the math, you will throw up if you do the math. So we ain't going to do the math. Boy, you better. If you have a person sex once a year for 10 years, that's 10 bodies. But I think people be having sex every 3 weeks.
Right.
At least 52 weeks.
The way they talk about it, right?
That's
the way they talk about
20 bodies in a year.
And you don't really hear people talking about STDs, HIV, AIDS, any of that kind of stuff.
We talk about it.
We do, yeah, for sure.
Mouth be looking like you've been chewing on poison ivy. All right.
Well, go ahead.
All right. Brandon said one. Now, this is not from the top 1 to the top 2, top 3.
And this is a good point, but what the Bible does say too. But how hard is this to do in the year 2023 on both sides? Because it doesn't say men should be virgins and get married. It said you should marry a woman who's a virgin. But go ahead.
I was listening to Pastor Dow. Now I want to inform Mr. Taylor. He says Bible says man should marry virgins. That is true. But a man can marry any woman that's not married.
Right.
And he can have sex with any woman he would take as his wife.
Right.
So if you have sex with a woman, that woman should eventually become your wife.
All right.
So you can't be out here just poking. Because you can't have all those wives back in the day because you had to pay for them.
Right. And we have gotten away from that, like having concubines and all that kind of stuff anyway, but
and watch this, Brandon. If you read the text that I just said, 2 lines after that, every new wife, you supposed to make sure she comes to your house and you got to please her for 1 whole year. So you got to be a simp. All right. So they're telling you to be a simp in the Bible for a year. So that keeps you straight, Brandon. How many women you could fully please for 1 year, Brandon?
One.
So you won't have that many wives.
Correct.
And if you can't pay for or do what a host is supposed to do, she got a right to divorce you because you ain't living up to your obligation. You lied to her.
That's true.
And then your name get off in the streets. They said, Brandon, he may got something hard, but he can't pay for nothing.
Right.
Then see, back in the day, it wasn't no social media. So when somebody says something, it may be true. All right.
Well, go ahead.